Good morrow, and welcome back to We Needed Roads. And this week we're doing something a little bit different, stepping away from rage virus outbreaks and alpha dongs to talk about something a bit classier. Hamnet. Me and David are diving into the quietly devastating, emotionally precise adaptation of Maggie O'Farrell's novel, a film about grief, memory, and the people history quietly forgets. This is a story about loss and about the weight carried by those left behind, about the domestic, intimate tragedy that sits in the shadow of greatness. We're talking performances, restraint, and how Hamnet turns absence into its most powerful presence. Asking whether this is one of those films that sneaks up on you and then absolutely ruins your day, but in the best way possible. No shouting, minimal swearing, bring the tissues. Let's get into Hamnet. So this is Chloe Zhao's adaptation of Maggie O'Farrell's imagined life of Shakespeare. His wife Agnes Hathaway, because we had a point about that, he was like, wait, I thought her name was Hathaway.
Yeah, well, I thought it was Anne Hathaway.
And I've also seen it as Agnes Hathaway, so yeah, I'm not sure on this one. If you know, drop a note in a comment and let us know. Don't Google it now, we don't have time.
Okay.
So this is Chloe Zhao's adaptation of Maggie O'Farrell's imagined life of Shakespeare. His wife Agnes and a tragedy that befalls their young son, Hamnet, that inspires Shakespeare to write Hamlet. So, let's get into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck moments from Chloe Zhao's Hamlet. All right then, well, let's get into the good. And the single greatest strength of this film is the acting. The primal power both Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal bring to their performances is extraordinary in their rawness and their honesty. So, I mean, we can just give Jessie Buckley her Oscar, right? She was nominated today.
Honestly, if she doesn't win for this Oscar, it is the biggest robbery. I haven't seen If I Had Legs I'd Kick You yet, so I haven't seen that performance.
There are a ton of great performances this year. Like, a lot of people were hyping up Jennifer Lawrence in Die My Love. She didn't get nominated for that. Renetta Rensva in Sentimental Value. She did get nominated. Emma Stone in Bugonia. She did get nominated. Eva Victor in Sorry Baby. Complete shutout. But I think Buckley's stiffest competition will be, yes, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs I'd Kick You. But that's still not out in the UK yet.
Honestly, her performance in this, not only do I think it was the best performance of the year, I think it's the most deserving Oscar-winning performance of the last decade.
Wow,
that's won it.
High praise.
I genuinely loved her performance in this, and you know what? I can go through them all. I think.
Yay! Live Googling.
Okay, you know what? I can't do that. I can't officially say this because I haven't seen all these performances.
Right. But, which ones have you seen?
I think she's better than Emma Stone in Poor Things in this performance. Although it's a very, very different performance.
I will say yes or no if I agree
better
with you.
Than Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Yes.
Frances McDormand in Nomadland.
She won for that? No, I hate Nomadland. Weird.
So better than that.
Because that's Chloe Zhao's other film.
Better than Renee Zellweger in Judy. Better than Olivia Colman in The Favourite. Very good performance as well. I'm not saying these are all good performances. They won an Oscar for them.
But you're just saying.
But I'm just saying that this. Oh my fucking! I adored this performance.
Next.
So this is the only one that I know, and I know you're not. Frances McDormand in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Ooh,
that's a fucking good performance as well. So that's tight. Emma Stone in La La Land. It was better then. Brie Larson had a very good performance in The Room as well, but. I know the point I'm getting.
I think it's just Room. She wasn't in The Room.
If she doesn't win,
Tommy Wiseau.
I think, honestly, her perforance made.
But David, we haven't seen If I Had Legs I'd Kick You yet.
So many things, like it made me. Oh my god, I was fighting for my life not to bawl like an absolute baby throughout multiple moments in this film, to properly just like weep. I mean, I welled up loads. I welled up like 4 times at different points in this film. 3 come back to back, and then at the end. But yeah, it's the emotions, Neil. The emotions.
I think the first thing that I saw her in was season 4 of Fargo, where she played a killer nurse, and she was brilliant in that. And then next up, she was in again, this thing that I've seen was Men by Alex Garland, which again, hey, brilliant performance. What the fuck ending? But I think it was probably for a lot of people, Wicked Little Letters last year, the year before, alongside Olivia Colman, that kind of really launched her into the general public's consciousness. I mean, she's always been doing great work.
Mm. And there's The Bride to look forward to as well coming out, which she looks amazing in as well.
They've clearly delayed that on purpose because they knew this was going to be fucking massive. Oh, you want to see her next film? Here it is. Go and see it. Wait, she plays the Bride of Frankenstein and Christian Bale plays Frankenstein? Fuck it, I'm in. But also, she was in The Lost Daughter, which was Maggie Gyllenhaal's first film as a director as well. So they obviously hit it off here. I love that Agnes's background is like hinted as like something otherworldly, like a witch. Like she's like, oh, the forest witch.
Born of the forest. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I like the way
she had to go back to the forest. She couldn't leave the forest. That's why she couldn't go to London. There were so many different things there.
She had to go to the forest to give birth.
Yeah, to give birth. Why she could, and when she was giving birth to the twins, she wasn't allowed to. She was refused it.
I mean, she does get those big atypical performance moments that an Oscar-winning performance gets, you know, like she has multiple giving birth scenes. You know, usually that's like, oh wow, you know, she does it twice.
Yeah.
But also, where the hell she goes to emotionally emit those guttural howls of despair at Hamnet's death. I mean, most films that would clinch a nomination there anyway. But no, for me, David, the single best bit of acting she does is her performance at the end of the play.
Film. Oh my, yeah, that whole scene of her watching the play, that whole everything about it is it.
How she goes from being loudly offended and like angry to finally realizing what Will was doing with the play and how it was his way to say goodbye to his son and make peace with it at the same time, and how he was going through these emotions every night on stage as he plays the ghost. And it was reaction shots. She barely said anything in those scenes.
Yeah.
It's just boom,
it's just
camera in the face.
Yeah,
you're sad. You know, can you imagine the director? I'm sure it was a little bit more eloquent than her going, right, you're sad. Now you're angry. Right, now you kind of get it. Right, and now you're happy. It was just amazing. So well done.
It's an actress understanding her character and her character's journey and everything that they've been through and faced, and the relationships with her husband, just up to that point, and just having it all showing just reaction shots in her face, minimal dialogue to her brother being like, that's not, don't say his, or like shouting at the stage saying like, don't say his name or whatever it was. It's just, yeah, I think it's just it's an actress understanding the depths of her character. Yeah.
I mean, I got a shout out as well, and we said this at the top of the show. Paul Mescal, and he's so underrated here. I mean, I think he's just a bit it seems weird to say that Paul Mescal is underrated, but it's because he turns in so many amazing performances, film after film. I mean, I can't think of a bad film he's done.
And he didn't get in, and as the Oscars came out today as well, he wasn't nominated.
Didn't get nominated, and this is a shame. But again, and this comes back to one of my things I always mention about Oscar performances, it's a difficult role to play because we rarely see him alone and distraught in London after Hamnet's death. We get a couple of scenes, key scenes, but generally, most of the time, we only see Agnes's fury with him whenever he returns, and she cuts him down every time with that "he wasn't here" line again and again and again. And we see him contemplate suicide, and bizarrely, it reminded me of like It's a Wonderful Life, because he's there over the bridge looking into the dark water, thinking about jumping in. But the story uses that pivotal moment as the idea for where he finds the inspiration for there to be or not to be speech. So I loved how that was like worked out in the film. I do think it's a really good choice, though, to show him rarely at work in London or his growing success. It just means we're more centered on Agnes's pain and her story and the family. Before seeing the film, I actually thought that Shakespeare might even be like the kind of villain of the piece. Like, I got the impression that after his son's death, he leaves because he just can't deal with the loss. But he doesn't really leave his family per se.
I thought he'd have more of a leading role. I thought he'd be more of a leading actor and leading actress, but he was like more of the supporting actor.
I just think he does a really good job keeping himself sympathetic. And you know, he still buys him the family house in Stratford that he's forgotten about. And it's kind of similar, like we talked about on one of the previous episodes where we talked about No Other Choice, when we were saying about he's doing everything for his family, despite not being there for his family. And I think in a lesser role, like you would have seen this where, or a lesser actor, sorry, he would become almost like a kind of de facto villain. He wasn't there, yeah. What's he doing? He's off. And it's that scene near the end of the film when Agnes and her brother come and they see where he's been staying. And it's this tiny little apartment. And he's not out, he's literally just there about the work. He's putting everything of himself into it. The scene where he's directing the cast of Hamlet in rehearsals, that is immense.
Mhm.
He is so, you see his anger just building and building and building throughout that performance.
And where he gives the performance of what he's looking for, what he's looking to see from them. And it's like, fucking, it's so good. Yeah, I mean, disgusting that he wasn't nominated, I think.
For in a minute, on reflect, just off the top of my head, that is his most powerful scene I think I've seen him do. Yeah.
I think with you know what so I want to spoil. I gave this film 5 stars, but I feel like if I understood and really knew Shakespeare and a lot of Shakespeare plays more so than I do, there is a lot of layers of this film that would have gone over my head because I don't know like lines from a play and what they mean and like all random other things that come up,
I did get some of them because obviously I did Hamlet and Macbeth.
Obviously I've got some of the big ones. I've got the Hamlet ones, obviously, and the to be or not to be stuff. But I didn't. I'm assuming there was others in there that I didn't get. I have read, Evelyn, all of the mini Shakespeare books that you can get. I've read I've gone through like Othello, King Lear, Richard III, Henry IV.
How did I get around all the murder?
In what? Sorry.
In all, isn't there a lot of murder in all the Shakespeare books you just mentioned?
Oh yeah, no, they kill people in the book.
So this is appropriate for a toddler then?
Yeah, she'll learn it one day.
It's like and Hamlet gave him a bad boo-boo.
Yeah, no, it's quite, think on reflection, I probably shouldn't have read it to her.
Yeah, and when you get stabbed with a knife, David, you just know she was training for
one that I really liked that I didn't know anything really about was Othello. Didn't know much about Othello. Really liked that one. One I hated, Taming of the Shrew. That one has not aged well for the modern the modern day.
Well, bringing it back to my effusive praise of Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley, I think they do such an amazing job of showing how a relationship can be fractured by grief, but without really attributing blame. Yes, outwardly Agnes blames Will for not being there, but also there was absolutely nothing he could have done if he had been there. Near the start, when he's getting drunk and you can see he's not happy doing a regular job that's expected of him, but he now has a family on the way and it's expected that he needs to like join the trade and do what he doesn't want to do. It's Agnes's faith in him that pushes him to leave in a positive way and to make something of himself and be better so he can provide for his family. And of course, the tragedy of him doing this is that he is away when Hamlet dies.
The scene with his father as well, where his father whacks him with his belt, I think, or something like that. And tells him to get back to his work, and it's just like the rage boiling up, and like that confrontation. Yeah, because it's like it's planted earlier with the father because he's like having to work for him because to borrow his debts off him. That performance there as well was really good.
So the end performance of Hamlet at the Globe was superb because therapy obviously wasn't a thing in Shakespeare's time. So he wrote a play to honour his son and deal with processing his grief, which is quite healthy actually. But I would totally go and see this play live. Although, ironically, the older Hamlet in the play, Noah Jupe, is headed to the West End this year to do Romeo and Juliet, starring alongside Stranger Things, Sadie Sink. Do you know what I think Noah Jupe, one of his first big screen roles was, David?
Tell me.
He was the small child in A Quiet Place.
Oh my God, he was!
Yeah,
the little boy. Yeah, he was.
Now, while we're on performances, all 3 of the child performances were amazing. And the actor that plays Hamnet, Jacoby Jupe, Jupe, that surname sounds familiar. Well, of course it is. He's a real-life brother of the stage version of Hamlet in the film and the film's climax, Noah Jupe. Now, I didn't know they were related when I was watching this, but I thought, as I was just watching, I was like, my God, that's amazing casting.
Yes.
Like, they've really got them looking similar. And then I just thought at the time, oh, yeah, it's just Will's idea to make the actor look like his son as a, but no, it's a masterstroke by casting to go, let's get actual brothers to play the roles.
I'm just going to go through the moments that made me cry, okay? Obviously, with Hamlet's death and Jessie Buckley's reaction to it, that got me. The scene where Hamnet is like the other side and he's lost and he's crying out for his mother. That got me. The one that got me the most out of it all was when the twin sister saw Hamlet's body, and she's just looking at it, going, "Why doesn't it look like him?" Fuck me. That was the hardest battle in the cinema, not to just not start crying my eyes out there. And then at the very end, watching the play and just seeing, and just the realization of it all. But the performance of the twin sister there in that, why doesn't it look like him?
Olivia Lyons, the actress is called. Olivia Lyons, name to look out for. Because, yeah, what a performance. Now, also, I want to shout out directing, because I've not always been the biggest fan of Chloe Zhao.
Well, you've not liked any of her films, have you?
Yes, I have. I like The Eternals.
You know what? I didn't hate The Eternals either.
I didn't hate it. I liked it. Look, so yeah, the redemption of Chloe Zhao continues. And look, she made her name with 2017's The Rider, which sadly I haven't seen. And then she was immediately snatched up by Marvel to direct The Eternals. But she actually had made Nomadland, which won Oscars, before The Eternals came out. Now, if you go back to our really early episodes when Nomadland came out, I think I saw it, because I think this was around COVID times. So I think I saw it at home, and I turned it off. I literally turned it off.
Did Nomadland release after?
It released after The Eternals, but was made before. The Eternals was not great, but at least, look at it objectively, it was visually stunning. And I think the blame on the film's failings should fall on Marvel for trying to shoehorn too much stuff into it. And again, they had a young filmmaker making their first super budget Hollywood film, right? The problem is Marvel, they clearly had no plan in place for what to do afterwards. Hey, do you remember that post-credit scene with Harry Styles? Do you remember that?
I do remember it, sadly.
with Jon Snow and Blade? What happened to that all these years later? Oh, sweet fuck all. And you just know that was put in, and Chloe Zhao was like, yeah, cool.
At least they referenced the giant, I tell you what, with Chloe Zhao, though, the girl knows how to get a performance out of her lead actress. I'm hoping this is going to be a second Oscar-winning actress that she's worked with, yeah. From her project.
Do you know what? With Nomadland, I want to try and defend. I feel like I need to go back and give it another go, but I need to see it in the cinema, because watching it at home, I just think the slow meditative pace, there was too many distractions, which actually I think is an issue people might have with Hamnet if they don't see it in the cinema. So if it's still around, I'm sure once Jessie Buckley wins her Oscar, it'll get a re-release and it'll still be around. Go and see Hamnet in the cinema. So moving on to the bad, and again, I'm being very picky here. The pacing is so glacial that ice ages have come and gone in this film. I think it might be a bit hard to keep some people's attention. So as I just mentioned, really watch this at the cinema. Don't have any potential distractions, and just let the film wash over you. One other criticism I did see of this online as well is that it was too simplistically manipulative. I mean, there's that one old Spielberg story, isn't it, about emotion, that, if you want someone to react, you show someone pointing a gun at a puppy. And it's that kind of thing here. Hamnet is not subtle in the way it tugs at our heartstrings. The death of a child is always gonna, done well, which seems a weird thing to say.
I wonder how this person would want them to react to the death of a child. How were they thinking that should have been?
I've got one other little bad, and it's a minor bad, and it's kind of not even really an issue, but the use of composer Max Richards on The Nature of Daylight, which is the music at the end of the film, which is beautiful, wins all the awards, except it's already been used in another more recent film to embody grief over the loss of a child, and that film was Arrival. Spoilers for Arrival. It's the exact same song. I actually looked up the scene and watched it to see how they did it. And yeah, completely different films, completely different scenes. And so it was weird seeing it being nominated for best. And I was like, but you've already been in a film that was really good that got like loads of awards chatter. And it's the same piece of music. So as much as it works perfectly, come on, people, come up with some new stuff. Even if it's great, don't reuse your stuff. I'm reaching here. It's a fantastic bit of music that works perfectly. David, do you have anything bad to say about Hamnet?
I can understand the pacing. I feel like at the very beginning, especially, is quite slow paced, where she's got the hawk and she's like, I can't. You are seriously reaching to try and find something wrong with it.
So that brings us on to the what the fuck. And really, there's only one here. And for me, it's Hamnet's death scene. I thought that film was going to swerve us by having... Well, it's weird, right? We know the film is about Hamnet his son's death. But I thought it was going to swerve us by having Judith die at one point, despite already know. I don't know. They did such a good job of her being ill and portraying it. And I was like, perhaps she dies, and then I don't know how it's going to work, but perhaps it's not what we think it is, especially with her ill health earlier in the film. Yeah, once we saw him in the room looking towards that black void, I thought, okay, the suffering's over. We'll cut back and we'll see the room, and he'll be like still, and everyone will be devastated. No, we cut back to him screaming in agony and seizing, and it was fucking horrible to see, man. And it went on for what felt like hours. I mean, it wasn't, but it felt like that, didn't it?
It was horrendous. I mean, and that scene is just the massive what the fuck for me as well is how the character that's like the nurse. I'm not quite sure what she was. She was like the housemaid nurse sort of character.
No, it was the mother. It was the mother.
No,
Emily
there was
Watson.
one that was a mother, and there was one that was more like a house.
Oh, yeah, the housekeeper.
Yeah, well, it might have been the mother that said it, actually. I can't
the midwife.
Which one of them said it, yeah. But they were just how completely normal and usual child death is, and like the infant mortality rate at this time was just like a very normal thing, and like it was like a very just almost like how normal it was.
Just playing off like nothing, and of course, yeah, because like she said, I had so many and this and many lived, right?
Yeah, some there was a few lines like it, yeah, and because she thought the other twin died in birth, which is why she was like constantly looking out for her and her health and everything like that, and it sort of turned a blind eye to Hamnet.
And of course, that line where she says, I know I'm going to have 2 children at my deathbed.
Yeah, there's 2 at my deathbed. Yeah,
and you're like,
he tricks Steph. Change the play. He won't be able to tell us apart.
Yeah, what a line. I mean, the kid was so good at it, man. He was so good. I mean, I've really got nothing more to say on it, man. It's not an easy film. I don't think it's one I'll go back to watch. I
will watch it again. I want. You know what? I want Natasha to watch this film with me. I think it's a beautiful film. I genuinely think everybody should see it. It's such a beautiful film.
Oh yeah.
The performance in it, like I said, for me, it's like a performance of a decade.
I just need a little break before I go back to it again.
Yeah, you need a few Disney films in there, or
emotional support baked goods. Well, I believe that brings us to the end of our conversation on Hamnet, a film that doesn't shout for your attention but quietly sits with you and refuses to let go. Huge thanks to David for joining me to unpack the grief, the performances, and the emotional weight this story carries long after the credits roll. David, where can people find you on the socials?
It's going to sound a bit silly now, my title name, considering the emotional subject we've just been discussing. But I'm long.d at Blue Sky, and I'm also at We Needed Roads on Instagram.
And if you want more We Needed Roads nonsense, you can find us everywhere. We're on Twitter at Needed Roads, we're on Instagram at We Needed Roads, and on TikTok at We Needed Roads Podcast. And you can follow me personally at Neil_Gregory78 on Instagram and Threads. Go on Threads, people. I actually had a monster thread to do with Agnes. Did you see this at the weekend, David?
I did. It was good. It was clever.
There were 4 big films this year, 4 of the biggest films of the year, that all had a character called Agnes. There was Sentimental Value, there was Hamnet, there was Agnes Disnake from Zootopia 2, and there was Agnes from Sorry Baby, which was unfairly snubbed. Justice for Sorry Baby. And that post had about 600 likes, which for Threads is good. And for me, generally, is good as well. We Needed Roads is available on all major podcast platforms. We'd love it if you subscribe to us on YouTube and gave us a follow on Spotify, where you can see the full video episodes as well as hear us. We'd love to know what you made of Hamnet. Did it move you, break you, or sneak up on you days later when you weren't ready for it? So remember, follow, rate, review, and make sure you've stopped crying as we made you relive the trauma of Hamnet once again. We've been We Needed Roads, and we'll be back before you can say, the rest is silence.
We Needed Roads.
What are you looking at, butthead?